live action adaptations. They get it so wrong time and time again. But why? What will it finally take for us to break this video game movie curse? And what will be lurking around the horizon to bring us right back to it?
On the one hand, gold. On the other hand, painful, agonizing failure.
What is it about these two movies in particular that make us feel like one did it so right and the other did it so wrong? Hey everyone, Silly Drifloon here. So Detective Pikachu has just released and it's already being hailed as the greatest video game movie of all time. But why is that? Well, first of all, let's take a look at the definition of adaptation. An adaptation is the process of converting something, for example, a movie, video game, etc., into a different form of written work. A good analogy of this would be potatoes turning into French fries. It still has the components of a potato, but what every adaptation up until this point has done is do something more along the lines of taking pizza and turning it into ice cream. It makes no sense at all. When you're making an adaptation in particular, you have to follow or at least honor the source material. Otherwise, what's the point of making an adaptation in the first place? Why not just create your own original idea? The first and most obvious example of where adaptations fail is character design. Take a look at Detective Pikachu, for example. Almost everything is true to character. They got virtually everything right. The hat, the design, the style, all they really did was add realistic fur textures, but it still feels like Pikachu because it kept the iconic design. The first thing everyone says when praising this movie is simply how good it all looks. Almost every single Pokemon in this movie looks exactly the same as they do in the games. In contrast to this, another video game character who's also getting their own movie this year received massive backlash over their character design to the point where the creators of the film have to now redesign the entire character. Yes, I'm talking about none other than Sonic the Hedgehog.
Meow?
Everyone hated this design, and for good reason. It seems that when taking a fictional character and translating it over to live action, Hollywood is obsessed with making a character look more realistic. But keeping a character true to its original design is what all the fans are expecting, just because of the familiarity it brings. You want people to look at your character design and go, it's no doubt that it's that character. You want them to be instantly recognizable. When making something from fiction look more realistic, we shouldn't think about translating it to what realism would look like in our world, especially if these characters are from another world to begin with. That's the whole point of suspension of disbelief. It's us imagining what would it be like if these creatures were real. Pikachu's not from Earth. He's from the world of Pokemon, or a version of Earth where these Pokemon creatures are normal to them. Pikachu's supposed to be an electric mouse, but it's not like they took a real mouse and made him yellow to make it more realistic to the way we imagine a mouse. No, they designed him to look like Pikachu. And the same should apply to Sonic. Sonic's not from Earth, he's from Mobius, a place where humans and anthropomorphic animals coincide and live together. So a character like Sonic would obviously seem normal to people from that world. And think about making these characters realistic in the first place. What's the point? What's the point of making a blue hedgehog who runs at the speed of light more realistic? Yeah, you kind of threw realism out the window with a character description like that. Even the small things, like giving him little white rat paws instead of white gloves. What's the point of that? Because hedgehogs don't wear gloves? He's already wearing shoes. So what difference does it make? Fans feel betrayed by a bad character design not just because of how bad or good it looks, but because it doesn't represent what the character is supposed to be. See, if you're designing and writing a completely new original character for a completely new and original movie idea, then go ahead and do whatever you want. But if you're writing and designing a character that's already been established in a separate work of fiction, you have to stay true to who that character is. They already have a personality, they've already been written out for you. You have to follow who that character is, or else it just won't be that character. Going back to Detective Pikachu, there are multiple Pikachu in the world of Pokemon, simply because they're a species. so they have a little bit more leniency to the way they can make Pikachu act. But even still, they hit the main points of who Detective Pikachu is meant to be, even with something as simple as being addicted to coffee.
I could stop whenever I want. These are just choices. Another round, extra shot, black as night. Thank you, sweetie.
And that's where that sense of familiarity I mentioned earlier comes in. We know who Pikachu is, we know who Detective Pikachu is, at least the fans of the game know, so when we see him translated into the big screen, we go, yeah, that's him. But we know who Sonic is, we know how Sonic is supposed to act, and when we see something like this, we go, is that supposed to be Sonic? The Sonic movie tries too hard at establishing some sort of exposition that doesn't truly encompass what Sonic is supposed to be at all.
Okay, pal, I want answers. Basically, it looks like I'm gonna have to save your planet.
And that's the mistake that so many live-action adaptations tend to make. They try establishing this crazy backstory that truly has nothing to do with the character at all. And this is one of the points that Detective Pikachu succeeds in. They don't waste time on needless exposition. They say, here are the Pokemon, this is Pikachu, they coincide in this world with humans, go, start the movie. Right there. And we learn about the characters and we learn about the world along the way. Gravity Falls creator Alex Hirsch put it this way: when making an adaptation, ask yourself, why do people love this property in the first place? What elements encompass the feeling of it? What can movie producers and film directors do to make us feel like we're actually there? To feel like this truly is that piece of fiction. I mean, it's a shame they get it wrong time and time again. There's so many things movie producers can use to their advantage that the source material already provides. Places, characters, music, a very big component. When they were first advertising Detective Pikachu, sure, they used generic pop songs just like any other movie trailer would have, but they also used the Pokemon main themes. The radio-friendly beats of the pop song got us hyped and excited for the movie, while the Pokemon theme made fans realize that this was Pokemon through and through. The Sonic trailer, however, didn't do any of that at all. Instead, they took a completely unrelated song and slapped it over their movie. Yes, what an obvious choice, because nothing spells out a story of the dangers of living in the hood more than a blue hedgehog from outer space. It makes no sense. Sonic has so many iconic and memorable songs from their game. I mean, they already show that they decided to incorporate locations from the game into the movie. So you're telling me you couldn't adapt the song and remix it into another song in order to make it fit your film? And that's another thing. They're making the movie take place on Earth. So why are they incorporating locations from Mobius onto Earth, the town of Green Hills? This is actually relevant as to why live-action adaptations fail time and time again. They don't establish their own world. Not establishing your own world actually hinders your movie. Sonic the Hedgehog is just another character coming to our world story. So now he has to blend in and hide and pretty much not show his face to the public at all. If the director of this movie actually chose to have it take place in Mobius, this would actually free up Sonic's character a lot. He would be able to charge headfirst into battle and do a bunch of crazy things like he would from his games, and no one would bat an eye because it would be considered normal there. But now you're telling me a character as free-spirited and reckless as Sonic now has to hide in plain sight? That won't work at all because it goes against his character. Imagine now if what they decided to do with Sonic, they did in Detective Pikachu. Now the Pokemon are some sort of mythical creatures who have to hide and not be seen by humans like some sort of fairy tale. That might sound cool at first, but when you really think about it, we would be taking away from the experience. We won't see the way that the world interacts with people. We won't be able to see the way some Pokemon function in society. And a lot of the funny character moments and interactions they have will be lost. It's important to remember, and this goes with any movie, that the stage itself is a character. Your story could be as interesting as you want it to be, but your world should be too. The main character in Detective Pikachu is Pikachu, yes, but it's also the world of Pokemon. The way all the Pokemon and humans live together, the world building of it, making you feel like you're actually there. That's as important of an aspect to the movie as the plot itself. And that's what makes it work. That's what makes it feel so real. It feels like we were sucked into that world and everything around it is a byproduct of it. Everything is interacting and coinciding so beautifully together because it all makes sense. It was all meant to be there from the very beginning. This beautiful combination of accurate character depictions, world building, atmosphere, and loyalty to the source material is what sets Detective Pikachu aside from every other adaptation that ever existed. Every other adaptation that just can't seem to get past the same old mistakes. Well, that's all I have to say. Thank you again so much for watching my video. If you liked it, please give it a like, and please share this video with anyone who's sick and tired of seeing live action adaptations get it wrong. Don't forget to subscribe to join the Drifloon Army, and hit the bell to be notified whenever I post again. Bye!